Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do a bit of a different video today. This one will be about some good boys loves manga series for beginners. If you're just looking to get into the genre or you're curious about it and you don't want to dive headfirst into some super hardcore yaoi series that may put you off of the genre forever, these are some good easy ones to kind of dip your toe into the genre and see if it's for you. So we're going to start off with what I think to be one of the most kind of accessible boys love stories recently released by Seven Seas. This is Go For It Nakamura by Sunday, and it is the story of Nakamura, who is gay, isn't stressing about being gay. All he's stressing about is trying to talk to his crush, this other boy that's on the cover. Uh, what I like about this one is it really doesn't go into any, like, it's just a comedy. It's a comedy about this boy who happens to like this other boy in his class and is just the very relatable situation of just trying to talk to his crush without making a fool of himself. And it's so cute. It's really funny, at like very, very funny, legitimately. And the art style is this very fun kind of uh, older style that looks kind of more like classic. So it's a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. There's no explicit content. It's very much just boys trying to talk to his crush, and it happens to be that his crush is another boy. He has no qualms about being gay, which is fun and refreshing. So it's just a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. Next up, we've got That Blue Sky Feeling. This is a 3-volume series put out by Viz, and the story is by Okura, and the art is by Komahashi. Uh, Again, only 3 volumes long. Viz, regular priced volumes, so they're pretty accessible price wise. And it's a fun story about our character here, who I believe his name is Nishio. He moves to this new town and meets this boy, Sanada, and uh, finds out that Sanada's gay and that there's rumors going around the school that Sanada's gay, and is just kind of opening his eyes to this new world that he never really thought about before. And it's a really cute story about acceptance and self-acceptance as well, and trying to come out to your friends. And it's really, really beautiful. It does deal with some of Sanada's like past relationships and stuff, so you kind of do get a little bit of romance in there, but honestly, it's very much more a story about friendship and coming to terms with your sexuality. And it's really cute. The art is adorable. The story is so cute and fun. Yeah, it's really another very cute one. No explicit content. It does discuss sexual themes in some respect, but it's not in order to excite the audience or anything. It's literally just like, no, these are teenagers. Sometimes teenagers have had sex, and they're not going to pretend that that doesn't happen. But there's no actual like explicit content in the book itself. It just is discussing some past experiences and stuff. Next up, we've got I Hear the Sunspot by Yuki Fumino. This is a One Piece Books release. This one's a little bit more tough to kind of decipher what to read first. So this is the original story, I Hear the Sunspot, which was supposed to be a one-shot. Then they released, because of the popularity of this, they released a second one-shot called I Hear the Sunspot, Theory of Happiness. And then, I guess because of the popularity of that, became a series called I Hear the Sunspot Limit, which at this point we have 2 volumes of. So currently in English we have 4 volumes of this story. And I think there's another volume of Limit coming out at some point, but I don't know how many volumes that one's going to be. But anyway, I Hear the Sunspot is about these college students, and I don't remember their names. But this boy in particular is he's partially deaf. And so we've got this boy who is super hyperactive and wants to be friends with everybody. He meets this more quiet, reserved boy, and it's about their growing friendship and him kind of learning more about the community of people with hearing disabilities. And yeah, it's a very beautiful story. It really, really is. Um, and like I said, it's got currently 4 volumes related to this story out right now, and it's by a smaller publisher, One Piece Books. Uh, it's it's very beautiful. It deals with obviously um, disabilities and also being LGBT. It starts off very much more like a slow starting friendship turned into a relationship. So it very much eases you into this topic, and so far there has not been any explicit content in the 4 volumes that I own and that are currently out in English. So again, not gonna kind of scare anybody away if you're not used to explicit yaoi content. This is definitely not a yaoi either. This is very much a just kind of a boys love story that isn't even, it's not the main part of the story. It just happens to be a part of it. Next up, we've got Classmates by Asumiko Nakamura. This one also is a little bit confusing. Currently, there are 2 volumes out, but the third one is out in a couple days, I believe. By the time this video goes up, the third one will definitely be out by now. And I don't know if we're getting any more in English. I think that this one's another weird one where it was supposed to be like 1 volume, and then it became more volumes after that, and then there's a bunch of spin-off series. So currently in English, we have 3 volumes. That may change in the future if they decide to publish more of those spin-off series, but yeah, these are by 7 Seas, and it is a fun little high school drama about these 2 classmates at an all-boys high school. This guy's more popular, he's in a band, he's, outgoing and whatever, and this dude is more reserved, very quiet, doesn't really talk to anybody. They're doing some choir performance with their class, and this boy walks in on him practicing alone in the classroom afterward, and so he offers to help teach him how to sing so that he doesn't make a fool of himself during this choir performance. And from there, they become friends, and of course, something more than friends. And it's a really interesting little quiet, slow-paced story about these 2 boys trying to figure out their sexuality, and it kind of just, they fall into this relationship because they kind of just go with the flow, but it's figuring out what their feelings actually are. Do they actually like boys? Did they just kind of fall into this relationship out of convenience? It's very beautiful. There is a movie, which is what I saw originally. The art is very much Asumiko Nakamura's style, which I find personally very beautiful, but could put off some people. Again, they're teenagers and they're horny and they talk about sex a few times, but as far as I remember, there is no sex in this as of yet. I don't know if it's going to happen in the future, but for now, there is no explicit content. Yeah, it's a really fun, beautiful story. Next up, we've got Sleeping Moon, and this is by Kano Miyamoto. This is put out by Sublime. This one says explicit content. This is a 2-volume series. It is complete, but I don't remember any sex, and I flipped through just before starting this video both volumes all the way through just to see if I could spot any sex, and I did not. I don't remember why this one is labeled as explicit content, but even if there is a little bit, it clearly isn't a lot because I flipped through both volumes and could not find a single naked person. So that's that, I guess. This one it's been a while since I've read it, but from what I remember, it's something to do with time travel, in terms of there's this house and one of the guys ends up going back in time to like ancient years and meets this other guy, and so he's going flipping between his own timeline and this ancient Japan. um I just remember it being, it's very much story heavy, but it is definitely a boys love or a yaoi series. But again, less explicit, so it's not gonna put people off who are not used to the very explicit sex scenes that yaoi typically has. This one's a really cool story that again happens to revolve around men who like men. But if you like sort of more fantasy, um, kind of historical stories, this one's for you. And I don't typically like those types of stories, but this one was quite good. I remember enjoying it very much. Um, yeah, there's a lot of kissing that happens, but no sex from what I can tell. So I don't know if they just put explicit content because they're like, oh, there's men kissing, it's explicit. I don't remember, but there's no sex as far as I can tell in this. But very much story driven, very interesting plot, and only 2 volumes again, so it's not too much of a investment. And but I remember enjoying the whole series all the way through and feeling like it did wrap up the story, so I'd highly recommend checking out this one. And finally, we've got Tableau numero 20. This is by Estem, and this is put out by Sublime as well. This is a one-shot short story collection that is very, very good. This one does have some explicit content, and that's why I put it last on the list. But it isn't overly explicit, and these are really beautiful stories. I love this mangaka. I own another short story collection by them, but this one in particular is so well done. It's the main story, and the one that's featured on the cover here is about this guy who is he falls in love with the boy in the painting that he is, I don't know if he's restoring the painting or he's just a historian who's like studying the painting. I don't really remember. But the young man featured in the painting captivates the gentleman who's studying the painting, and then it so happens that this boy comes out of the painting or exists, and he's like, that's the guy from the painting. How does this happen? This painting is like centuries old or whatever. And it's very interesting. But then the other stories in this one as well are very beautiful. Oh, there's a nice color page. But this one definitely does have explicit content. This mangaka has a very particular art style with faces and stuff that I find quite fascinating, but again, may turn some people off of the story. But yeah, there's some very different stories. Like that one obviously has a bit of a fantastical element to it with the guy coming out of the painting, but some of them are just more like everyday life sort of stories. And then there was one in here in particular that was about an older gentleman that I remember. Oh, there it is. This one in particular was very, 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 it was a beautiful story. I remember feeling very, very touched by that one by the end of it. And the reason I'm recommending this is because it was such an eclectic mix of stories that were all very well done, very short, but well thought out and realized, and the art is very good as well. So if you find this one, I highly recommend picking it up. And there is, like I said, some explicit content in this, but it really isn't overpowering like it is in some yaoi. So I highly recommend this one as well. So that is it for this video. Those are the 6 volumes that I recommend checking out if you are new to yaoi or boys love in general. Most of these are like shonen ai titles, but yeah, if you're interested in checking out more boys love titles, I would recommend starting with these 6 or any combination of these 6 to get kind of dip your toes into the water and see what you may be interested in. If you've read any of these series, have any thoughts on them, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions about them, or if you have any other recommendations for some boys love series for beginners, please, I'd love to hear them. Or just boys love recommendations in general. I love reading yaoi and shonen ai titles. So if it's something I haven't read, I may be inclined to check it out if you recommend it. Thanks for watching. See ya.